All I have in this world is my balls and my word, and I don't break them for no one. Do you understand?
Rightio legends, Cast Chronicles, and we're back with another video. So today I thought we'd do another reaction video, and so this one is called Supermax Uncut, Red Onion State. And yeah, so I haven't watched this one yet, and yeah, so I'll be watching this at the same time as you. So let's get into it. Bloody movie.
I grew up foothills of the Blue Ridge Mountains in Earlysville, Virginia, right outside of Charlottesville. Grew up dirt poor, wrong side of the tracks. Dad was an alcoholic and a drug user. For the most part, he was absent. I was the middle son, so no matter what happened, I always got beat for it. You know, being a middle child, so on and so forth, whether I had anything to do with it or not. And going to school, you know, we went to a pretty nice.
You know, it's something very common that I've learned in my life, that with people that kind of lived my life, you know, very often got, you know, beat as children. And yeah, it's very, very common.
High school, actually. And we were, I mean, by far the poorest there, you know, so we got picked on, made fun of and stuff like that, and just started fighting, you know. I never bullied anybody, but I would always pick fights with the bullies because I hated it. I know what it felt like to be put down and made fun of. So I would take the bullies, I'd stuff their heads in the toilets.
Do you know what? That's crazy, because that's exactly all the trouble I got in as a kid was for, you know, helping the kids that were getting bullied, and for, you know, getting the bullies that were picking on people that they shouldn't be.
You know, that's just all I've ever known was how to fight. My dad made me fight, you know, with sawed-off 2x4s just to toughen us up and make us hard. He said, if you get into a fight, you damn sure better finish it. And if you lose, I'm going to beat your ass for it. That's pretty much, I mean, unfortunately, that's pretty much my childhood. You know, all I've ever known was violence. You know, it wasn't the solution to the problem. It was just life. Now I'm doing 1,214 years in the state of Virginia without parole.
Over 1,000 years prison. Like, come on, anything over 100 years is a bit of an overkill, if you ask me. Like, fair enough if that's how much they deserve, but like, they're never going to do that amount of time. It's just a bit of an overkill, if you ask me.
That's pretty much it.
Officer Patrick. Can you take a call?
I'm going to take your handcuffs off. Let us control your hands.
You know, it's one thing doing prison time. It's another thing doing solitary time like that. That'll separate a boy from a man real quick. And I imagine it would be 10 times worse over there, that's for sure. So it's the same over here too. So anywhere when you're in the slot or solitary, like they call it, you're always getting escorted by, at least 2 officers, and you are shackled like this. So this is the way they shackle you also when you go to hospital. So you have full ankle shackles and everything like that. And that's exactly what it sounds like in the slot all day, every day. Just people yelling, screaming, and banging up like that. So we do have Supermax here in Victoria. So we've got like Acacia and Melaleuca, which are at Barwon Prison, and they are classed as Supermax.
The main thing that segregation means to me is extreme loneliness and boredom. That's the main thing, loneliness. Don't care how tough you are. I don't care how badass you are. You can Bruce Lee it up all day long. It gets to you, and it hurts like hell.
And he's exactly right. Like what he said, you can Bruce Lee it up you can all day long. That's pretty mad. I like that. But, what he's saying, it doesn't matter how tough you are. Like, you'll figure out how tough you are when you're in solitary. And it's so true.
I feel like I've been buried alive in the ground, and just everybody's just basically walking over top of you. You can hear them, but they can't hear you. That's the way I feel. Forgotten. And that is not a comfortable feeling at all.
And that's true as well. I don't want to keep agreeing, but you do. You feel like the world has forgot about you. And the funniest thing is, the world continues to go on around you, but you just seem to be stuck in this same spot. It's like the weirdest thing to explain.
When you're alone, you tend to reflect on your thoughts a lot. You tend to maybe regress into yourself a lot. You just have nobody. You truly are alone. And anyone who says, I would love to be alone, I don't think they've been alone. So, because when they do, they'll experience it and they'll hate it.
Truth. Facts.
I've been in set going on 8 years. And when you're in here, you don't have the contact that you want.
8 years is crazy. I know people that have done the double figures in the slot, and that's absolutely crazy. The longest I done was 19 months, and that was hectic enough. But 8 years is bonkers.
Every time you leave the cell, you got to strip.
Around. Squat golf. Notice the bottoms of your feet. Other one.
And then you're in handcuffs. You're in shackles. And you got a gun up there in the booth. While it's not necessarily pointed at you, it only takes a couple seconds. You get to go to the shower, you know, talk through the doors a little bit.
Yeah, he's a big boy, isn't he?
You get to go outside on the rec cages, you know, for an hour, a few days a week.
She's practicing his kicking. That guy's deadly. Like Bruce Lee, like the other guy said. Dude's almost kicking himself in the head. Yeah, it was.
So when you're in here, you're around hundreds of other guys, inmates and the COs. But you walk alone.
That's true as well. I think that's a meal trolley. Yeah, they are meal trolleys. So at prisons like the MAP, Barwon, MRC, you know, the food gets delivered around in trolleys like that. As a matter of fact, at MRC, they get delivered around on a buggy. And like you can get the job driving that buggy, believe it or not. It's pretty cool, I reckon. I had that job a couple of times and lost it a couple of times. I don't know if that dude's just pretending to be crazy or he actually is crazy. But yeah, I don't think that that guy was actually crazy. But you see that shit a lot. People get that stir crazy in the slot. Like the guy said, you're just alone in your own head the whole time. And so I've seen people that crazy, but I don't think that guy was being. I mean, he could have been, but. I imagine having that job. What a boring job. Sitting around waiting for prisoners to break the law.
Opened in August of 1998. It was opened to be a security level 6 segregation facility, Supermax. Basically a totally locked down facility where most offenders remain in the cell 23 hours a day, 7 days a week.
So everyone, if you just heard that, he said most inmates remain in their cells, like that the whole prison is a lockdown prison. So I'm guessing what it means by most people remain in their cells for 23 hours a day is they need people to like deliver meals and do stuff like that, clean up. And I think they call them porters in America. We call them billets over here. But yeah, I think that would be the people that are out for longer.
I came here as assistant warden at the time. We opened the facility. We brought offenders in that had negative behavior, the worst behaving offenders in the state. And we brought them from other facilities to Red Onion to be able to house them in a more secure environment than the lower level facilities.
So in other words, that's for the worst of the worst there. So what I have noticed is that the prisons are very, very similar. Like our new prisons are very similar to their prisons over there. Like even the cells are very, very similar. Like the older units here in Victoria are very, very different, but like our newer units are very much like that.
29 of warehouse family. 17.
My name is Michael Kelly. I'm originally from South Central Los Angeles. I don't know nobody out here. I don't have no family, no friends out here. I don't know a soul in Virginia. I came out here to Virginia to drop somebody off, and I committed a couple robberies. And the courts in Virginia gave me 38 years for 2 armed robberies.
Damn, and that's the big difference between the sentencing in Australia and America. Like you would probably get for 2 armed robberies here, you know, you'd be lucky to get double figures if it was your first time. And like you definitely wouldn't get anything over 8 years if it was your first time. And if it was your second time, maybe you'd get 10 years or something like that. Never 38 years.
If I would have known that I would have got 38 years for 2 armed robberies, like I would have never done it. You know what I mean? Because I would have been like, holy shit, I'm not finna throw my life away for 38 years for 2 armed robberies. That's crazy. That sounds nuts. But I didn't know how serious it was out here in Virginia. In California, I'd have got like 8 years and I'd have been that, you know? But I didn't know how serious it was. And I didn't know how serious.
Well, there you go. That's how different it is from state to state over there. You know, he would have got 8 years in his home state, but 38 years, it doesn't make sense.
Society took that. When I was a kid, I wanted to be a gangster. I wanted to be like my father. You know, in California, where I came from, we don't really look at gangbanging as being
I think that's what a lot of us did, you know, wanted to be like our dad type thing.
Crazy. It's just kind of our culture. It's a neighborhood thing. Like if you're from the neighborhood, that's your family. And that's everything to you. You know, when we're young, you got people that you look up to and say, you want to be like them. You know, I want to be like him. Like, look at his car. You know, look at the girls that like him. Like, I want to be like him. I want to look like him when I get older. That's my America. And I'm in prison now. And they put me in segregation for fighting. And being in that cell 23 hours a day, it's a mental challenge in itself. Just being in that cell for so long, it's a psychological thing, you know? Any and everything that we go through is just in that little box, in that little cell. Trying to like create things to do. Trying to keep them going crazy.
And that's what it is. And that's exactly why so much bullshit happens, is because like people are bored and they're just trying to entertain their brain. Basically, that's what it comes down to.
Every day, all day. Like for me, my therapeutic time is cleaning up every day. When I get up in the morning, I clean up. When I go to bed at night, I clean up. You know, hit the floor, the walls, the sink, just clean everything, get it all straight, spick and span, right? But I don't know. I think that's just maybe OCD or something. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy a little bit.
I think that's just normal. I think that's what everyone does in prison, you know, get up, clean, you know, that's done. You don't have to do that. Move on to the next thing.
The COs can't really understand, you know what I mean? They're here half the time we're here, you know what I mean? But at the same time, they leave, you know, and they go back into the real world and they come back. This is our world.
And that's the thing. That is your home while you're there, and the screws will never ever respect it as your home. You know, it's in a way they think it's their home, and they definitely try and make that point.
Tracking the development of a winter storm here along the East Coast and just starting to see some snow in the North and South Dakotas, a bitter cold Arctic air from the south. That ends the warmer air to the southeast, and then we get that storm developing. So it's just initially starting to develop now. Temperatures are dropping.
I wonder if they have heaters and shit over there, like we do here in Australia. Yeah, see, pretty much exactly how that looks now. That would be like, you're going into a fairly new style Victorian prison. That's pretty much what it's going to look like. Pretty identical, actually.
Give me all your clothes.
Doing a cell search, maybe.
Some days it can be easy going, and then some days your stress level can be out the roof, and it feels like you're doing time because you have to come right back and do it the next morning. But you make the best of it.
I'll tell you this. I will say this, like, for anyone that can keep a job as a prison officer for as long as some of them do, like, my fucking hat goes off to them, because, like, it wouldn't be easy. Like, we're all, like, pig head. It's just, as you can, like I've said, it's like high school on steroids, you know what I mean? And everyone wants to be heard.
And in order to maintain control, you have to be firm.
Face the back wall, spread your butt cheeks, squat and cough.
Working in the Supermax prison, it'll definitely...
We do that here too. Spread your butt cheeks, squat and cough.
Make you tougher.
28! Maintaining, your calm is quite an achievement when dealing with some of these guys. And some days it feels like the day's just not going to end. It's one thing right after another.
Like, it must be hard for them. You got to think they've got, like, 70, 80 people in there that all have certain things that they want done every single day. And, they're trying to run off their... It just must be hard for them, But, like, look, no one made them get that job.
I'm a unit manager of D building. I've been with the Department of Corrections now for 16 years. I started out as an officer, and I was promoted to sergeant, then to lieutenant, then unit manager. The hard part for some staff is because they're on such great alert 12 hours a day, and there's the potential for violence. When you go home and it's time to relax, sometimes it's hard to let your mind relax because you're still
definitely
on guard. So I think that adds to the stress of this profession. You look at things different. When I'm out on vacation or out in big crowds with my family, I'm always looking around. I think that's to do with this job.
You have to just let red onion be red onion, and it takes takes experience to really settle in to the point that you realize this is just a job. We don't have to live here. Slide out.
It's pretty hard walking in those shackles too. When you go to hospital, so when they take you to St. Vincent's Hospital, which is where you get most of your medical treatment done if you're in prison in Victoria, they take you to St. Vincent's and say, for instance, if you needed to have something done with your eyes or your ears, they take you to the eye and ear hospital from St. Vincent's Hospital underneath the ground, and it's Ks and Ks, and you've got to walk that whole way in shackles. And yeah, I didn't even know that those things existed, but yeah, there's plenty of tunnels under there. He's happy to be there, isn't he? Hey, Mum.
All right, here we go. My name is Lars Hansen. I'm a lifer. I have a life sentence, and life in Virginia means life without parole. You're in, and
that's different here. If you get life here, it's 25 years. So, I mean, obviously there is natural life, they call it, people that aren't getting out, but generally if you get a life sentence here, it's 25 years.
People who have a release date, their mentality is different than an individual like myself where we have life. It's life, and it's very impactful. It's depressing.
I can't imagine what that would feel like, because I know myself doing years. Like my last biggest sentence that I've done was 9 years, and I know some days it felt like that it was Groundhog Day, and it just felt like it was never ever going to end. So I couldn't even imagine what the guys are feeling, knowing that they're never ever going to see the light of day again. Like, it must be pretty daunting, I reckon.
Sad. It can really overwhelm you. So when you have to live with that year on end, it can take a toll on you.
That's something that I refuse to do in prison, and a lot of people do. I don't keep calendars. So, like, if I can help it, I will try and forget what the day is, what the month is, and keeping a calendar. All that does, you're looking at that thing, just watching the days tick by one by one by one. Like, I don't even have a watch or anything like that in prison, just because, like, I just don't want to know what the time is. I don't want to know what the day is. Unless I've got a visit or something like that, I couldn't give a shit,
I'm 41 years old.
Well, I'll tell you what, guys, we'll leave it there. We'll make it a 2-part. I don't want to go making a 60-minute video for you guys. As a matter of fact, if you guys would be interested in more longer reaction videos, chuck it down in the comment section. I would be interested to know, if you guys would like me to do that. But yeah, I like these reaction style videos, and I especially like, especially the prison ones and stuff. Like, it just spins me out the differences in the prisons, like between Australia and America, and obviously there's got to be a difference because they've got a population difference that's so much greater. They've got hundreds of millions of people there. We've got like 27 million people here in Australia or whatnot. But it just never surprises me. Every state has different laws, and so the prisons are run different. So every video you see is just totally different. And then, so like I said at the start, I haven't watched this video before, so I'm watching this for the first time as you guys are watching it as well. And it spins me out. What spins me out is that guy saying that he had like 1,000 something years and then 6 life sentences. Like, that is an absolute overkill. Like, seriously, give the guy 110 years. The guy's 30 years old. You know what I mean? You give the guy 110 years, he's never getting out. You know what I mean? It's an absolute overkill. I understand why they do it, but, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just a massive, massive overkill, and probably a waste of time and federal money too. That's for sure. But anyway, guys, I have been the Chaos Chronicles. If you guys are loving these reaction style videos, chuck it down in the comments, and even chuck down what video you'd like me to do a reaction on, and I'll see if I can get that done for you. But also, if you guys haven't already subscribed, like I said in my other videos, it turns out in between 50 and 60% of the viewers, varies, are not subscribed. So yeah, if you haven't already subscribed, jump up there, shoot me a subscription down there actually, and yeah, hit that bell icon. That way you'll never miss any of my clips again. And yeah, I've been the Chaos Chronicles. We out.